Hey everybody, Sean Malloy coming to you from Patriots Landing, and I hope you're doing well. Another little afternoon practice session. Today we still have, turn this camera, still have a little bit of wind, some very mild temperatures in the low 50s, and just beautiful out this afternoon. Where we left off, we were shooting 30 yards and it was okay, but I was getting a little tired, so we stopped practice. So today we're going to do a couple shots at 20, make sure we're warmed up, hit 30, make sure our pin is good there, and then we're going to drop back to 40, 50, and maybe hit 60 before the end of the session. Again, the wind, it's kind of, it'll be a tailwind, and it's kind of coming across, so it's a crossing tailwind. Should not affect the flight of the arrows, and it's just a little gust. Like right now, there's no wind at all, and then it'll get breezy for a second, but not enough to affect our practice session and evaluate these arrows. So we're gonna get started, and I'll see you on the range. Let's do it. All right, 20 yards looks good, so let's move it on back to 30. All right, I rushed that second shot just a little bit and went high, but the third shot was dead on, so I think we're good at 30. So we're going to move back to 40 and see how the pins are with these arrows. So let's do that. All right, we're going to get this camera set up, slow motion. Got a little bit of, the wind's picking up just a little bit. That's okay. So we're going to be shooting at 40, so let's get this camera turned around and line her up. All right, just shot our first grouping at 40. Not too bad. First two were a little bit to the left. I think this collar was kind of jacking with my contact on my jawline, because the second one, the second I moved this, the third arrow, well, you can see, third arrow is dead on. So these two before I moved the collar, this one after I moved the collar, and got a good anchor point. So I feel confident about that. We're going to shoot another set just to confirm, but I think the 40 is good to go, and we'll confirm it, then we'll move back to 50. So let's do it. All right, going to shoot the same three arrows we just shot, which are arrows C, D, and F, and that way we know what kind of flight we should be getting out of those. So let's shoot another round of 3 and see what we got. All right, I think we're good on the 40-yard pin. Again, not really worrying about accuracy. to a point. I just want to make sure we got good groupings, and we're verifying the pin range, and then we'll come back and fine tune. Might be something going on in my grip. I haven't been shooting for a while. Just check on the form first before we make any more adjustments to the equipment. But overall, I'm pretty happy. You can see the wind is starting to pick up a little bit. We got 2 in the circle at 40, but that's a good group. So I feel good about the 40-yard pin right there. So we're going to go ahead and drop back to 50, see what this 50-yard pin does. The wind is picking up, as you can hear and see, and of course that's affecting my bow arm. I'm having to manage the bow moving left and right as the wind picks up and dies down. So let's just see what happens. So let's do that. Okay, so now we're back here at 50. See the target right there. Get the slow motion camera set up, and let's fling a couple 50-yard arrows. All right, the first one was a little off, but not bad off. The second 2 were elevation was level, so I think the pin is good. Just got to work on our form. It is still a little breezy, so I'm getting a little left and right drift with the bow arm, but nothing that with a little more patience and time I can work it out. But I think we got a little bit of a spread here, but these 2 are about on the right elevation. I did take my time with these a little bit more. That one, not so much. So we're going to shoot another round of 3 and take our time now, know where they're hitting, and we'll see what happens. So let's do another round. All right, the wind has definitely picked up, but that's not going to slow us down. So we're going to do another set of 3 using the pin at 50. And then what I'm going to do is do another set after that using the sight tape 50-yard marker. So we'll be using the 40-yard pin with the sight tape marker at 50 yards, just so we can verify that our sight tape is still good to go. So we're going to do 3 with the pin, and then we're going to move to the sight tape. So let's knock these out now. All right, don't know what's going on, but my first shot sucks at this 50 yard. And then the next 2 are pretty doggone close. The wind was blowing pretty rough on the first shot, I will admit. The second and third shot, not so much. We're still kind of in there. 50 yards is kind of pushing it anyway. But I still think the pin is good. We just need to tighten up on our form a little bit. And maybe without the wind, we'd do better. So I'm going to call the 50-yard pin good. We're going to now switch to the sight tape. Again, we're shooting the 40-yard pin with the indicator at 50. And that'll tell us if our tape is still pretty good. I think it's going to be, but just want to check. So let's do that next. All right, Let's try the sight tape with the indicator. Here we go. All right, for once we got a nice tight group. I think part of it is the pin is low in the housing, and that requires you to torque that bow a little higher, which can affect the focal plane kind of thing without getting too technical. But bottom line is, when you switch to the tape and the indicator at 50, you're shooting with a pin that's more centered in the housing, the sight housing, and as a result, this is what you get. That's pretty consistent. For elevation, can't get better than that. And just right below the marker where I was aiming. So with that, and that kind of shooting and consistency, I definitely feel like the 50-yard tape and indicator are spot on. So I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the time out here on the range, but I am going to shoot a few more arrows and get my shoulders and back limbered up a little bit. But thanks for joining me at Patriots Landing out here on the range. And as usual, I'll see you in the field as we prepare for Species X. Announcement coming soon. Talk to you later.